Hello there, hi. Welcome to Butterfly Effect, a podcast all about interviewing people. I'm your host, Tristan Ettleman. Before we get to that interviewing part, I don't know, there's not much to say. I'm in a good place. Things are going well, opportunities have arisen. I put in my 2 weeks notice at my day job, the movie theater. And so that has me feeling good. Because I've gotten some pretty steady freelance work, working from home remotely, which I can't really speak about, but let's just say that is what it is, freelance work, and pays way better than minimum wage movie theater work. So, feeling good. Things are on the up. And there's another opportunity which looks like it's not happening, but I was excited to have that opportunity. And I'm speaking very vaguely, but this past week or so has been a whirlwind of emotions, things coming up, and making things happen. So, yeah, I'm feeling good. A little tired, but pretty good. Today on the show, Austin Clark. He's a cool guy. He's my friend, and he's a writer. He podcasts for Average Joe podcast, and he writes for Invisible Gamer, the site that I write for when I get the chance. And I've known Austin for a little while now, through the interwebs, and I always enjoy talking to him. And so I'm like, hey, come on the show and we'll talk about stuff. And we actually ended up getting pretty philosophical about some things, and I don't know, good talk. I like talking to cool people and having fun doing it. I'm feeling really loopy and tired right now, and I still have a lot of shit to do. So yeah, just check. I don't have anything else to vamp on. Just check out this interview, and I'll see you on the other side. So, anyways, what's I don't do intros or anything. You've listened to the show.
Yeah, it just happens. It just comes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for recommending Rich, because that was a really good conversation. I'm glad we really talked, because I was familiar with him, but
I was really glad you guys did the talk, because it was really, I know him through his music, but I didn't dig into his biography or anything, so.
Well, yeah, and he goes by Disaster Piece, so even just by that, you don't really know who he is.
Yeah.
So he was a cool guy.
And it was a great interview. I couldn't believe when he said he basically did the It Follows soundtrack in 3 weeks.
I know. He's a cool guy. I'm gonna keep up with whatever else he's doing, obviously. So yeah.
Definitely.
But so yeah. Well, so what's new with other things with you, Austin? Anything exciting going on?
The most exciting stuff really is just adult life, and
yeah, having a child,
raising a daughter in this crazy world.
Yeah, another human that has thoughts and will eventually eclipse you.
Yeah, and has to survive based on what you do.
Yeah,
it's a trip.
How old is she now?
She is this is funny. I'm gonna say 18 months.
Oh man, Austin, don't be one of those people.
Here's the thing. I knew you were going to say that, because I was one of those people too.
Yeah.
Why the hell are you saying months? Just say a year.
So you start to think of it in months, though?
Yeah, I totally do it in months.
But I think it's fine up until 2 years, obviously. Once you hit 2 years, that's when you start to just stick years.
I couldn't stand saying months, or hearing people be like, 9 months, 12 months. Yeah. 14 months, and then you realize how much a baby changes with it.
Exactly what those benchmarks mean.
It's wow, yeah. It's night and day from 9 months to 14 months,
Right, yeah, that's funny. But it's going well, though, obviously.
Yeah, she's great. It definitely is a whole new crazy experience.
Yeah.
So I got that going on. I got I'm searching for a house, an actual house, not apartment or anything like that. And, I mean, that's just going. there's no end in sight. It feels like.
Yeah, yeah,
We've been looking. We've probably looked at like 40 houses since we started, and we're kind of on a limited budget, so
yeah.
you can't just go to the Beverly Hills most nicest looking house. You gotta
Sure.
search and search and search, and eventually you find something that's like perfect, like we found.
Yeah.
And then when you're thinking about it, your realtor calls and says, "Hey, somebody just bought this house with cash."
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
flat
shit.
out. So you got no chance, basically.
Where? What?
Yeah.
What?
Like, are they drug dealers? Who has like $100,000 just in their pocket?
Yeah, that's funny. Well,
Especially like around our neighborhood, it's not like the fanciest or anything.
yeah. Well, I was gonna ask, you're in Indiana, right?
Oh, I'm in Indiana. Yes.
Yeah. What city?
Right now I live in Hammond.
Okay.
And the weird thing about where I live is it's basically a suburb of Chicago. And like we get Chicago radio, Chicago weather channels, like the
You go into Chicago often enough, don't you? Like I've seen you post things about.
Yeah, pretty often. I go probably
as much as you can, and with a now a child.
Yeah. I would say like once every couple months at least.
Yeah, yeah. But it's not like a ridiculous trip, obviously.
No, it's like 45 minutes away, really.
Oh, okay, wow.
And yeah, so it's like we're in a really weird part of Indiana where the rest of Indiana is nothing like where I live, and people expect cornfields and I don't know, just rural area.
Parks and recreation.
Yeah, and
the show. I think it's in Indiana.
Yeah, it's and it's really like what you think of a suburb of Chicago.
Sure, Chicagoland.
Yep.
Almost, right? Yeah. Well, cool. But are you from Indiana originally?
No. Originally I'm from upstate New York, which
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
that's cool.
Upstate is anything above the city if you're from New York. I'm actually from a little town called Elizaville.
Huh.
And that is country and rural.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I wasn't raised on a farm, but we did build a barn and raise chickens in it.
Okay. So almost a farm.
Almost a farm.
You just weren't farming anything. You were just you had livestock, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
With chickens.
And we had a lot of land. Like my backyard, my dad actually turned it into like a racetrack for dirt bikes. And so
that's badass.
It was pretty cool. And I was literally 5-6 years old on like a tiny little, I don't know, 100cc, 50cc type motorcycle.
Oh my god.
And, going out there every day and riding. Completely night and day from where I am today.
Yeah. Well, what did your dad do? Was he like a rough and tumble dude? Sounds like it.
He's kind of a rough and tumble dude.
Okay.
He owns an auto parts store in a kind of more downtown area of New York. And he's, I mean, I don't even know when he really started there. He started and like worked his way up to a part-time or a part owner.
Oh, right.
And then him and my mom eventually got divorced, and that's when my mom met somebody and moved out here to Indiana.
So you've been in Indiana for a while, though, most of your life. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I call this my home, not New York.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It sounds like majority. Like I'm from, in quotes, Vallejo, California, but at this point I've been in Phoenix longer than that. So I just stopped saying that. Like I'm like, yeah. When people ask me like, where are you from? Like, I'm from here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a caveat to that, but like I'm pretty much like it's and most of my formative years took place here, obviously. So it's like,
Yeah.
I guess I'm from here.
Yeah. I'm the same way. It's at a point where you're raised. Most of your decisions and like upbringing and stuff happened in a certain area, and so that's your home.
Yeah. I'm used to lots of parking lots and heat, which are things that you don't really get in like the major cities I want to move to, or where it was like in Vallejo in the first place, which is like Bay Area. But yeah, I don't know. So you were growing up in mostly Indiana. Were you playing lots of video games?
Yeah.
I consider you, of all the people I know, one of the most knowledgeable people about like retro stuff. And of course you do Retro Weekend for Invisible Gamer, which is great.
Oh yeah. Well,
so I figured that started early. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird like when you talk to other people and you realize like even people who play video games a lot, like you kind of just project yourself onto them.
Sure.
And you kind of think like they had the same upbringing.
Oh, right.
Especially like even with people in different ages, like it's so weird to think that like you were so little when like Majora's Mask came out, but it's your favorite game.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm the outlier, right?
Yeah.
Like you figure everyone has that foundation of like the classics of Mario Bros. And all those, Tetris. I don't know, but I luckily did have that upbringing just because of like my dad was into games and had those games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of my stuff has been going back. But like when I tell people like my first console was PS2, they like have a heart attack.
Oh man, I think I just had one.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like, I understand, like, but I wish that it was kind of the norm that people had that foundation. But I guess I don't know. I feel like there's a lot less of a kind of tie to the past in video games than there is in any kind of other medium, like hobby thing. Like if you're a film buff or whatever, right? Like you go and watch Citizen Kane, you watch Birth of a Nation, and you watch, all that shit.
Scott Pilgrim.
But yeah, one of the greatest films of all time. I mean, honestly, I really like that.
Me too.
Yeah, but I mean, for video games, I feel like there's less of an emphasis on that because a lot of old games, especially like PS1 era or whatever, don't play very well anymore. Don't hold up as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that weird thing where, I mean, to be honest, I kind of feel that way about movies because
really
acting itself has changed so much.
Sure, yeah.
But I kind of hate that phrase that like a game doesn't hold up because me personally, like I can only play a game comparing it to like what else was out at that time. Yeah,
there are people like that. I think there's like two camps of like what it's like at the time and then overall. But they're both valuable.
I can definitely both valuable. I can understand you not like anybody not wanting to play the original Legend of Zelda because it's not clicking for them or something like that. But in the context,
I don't know. I think that that holds up. But
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, sure.
But like in the context of what it was back then, it's revolutionary, and it's hard for me personally to not see that side when I go back and play old games.
Yeah, I think I'm like that too. I obviously I didn't experience it in that format, but I'm always so like I'm very into history, so I have that kind of idea surrounding it. So, I mean I still enjoy a ton of PS1 weird games that people say are awful and look terrible. I still, but and I do think of it in terms of like that time, like you said. But there are some things where you're like, I can understand why other people would not feel this way. Like you like look through past it, you're like, ooh, this is kind of like original Resident Evil, amazing game, really like set the tone for survival horror. I just play the remake.
Really
like
hard,
you don't need to play. You don't need to play the original PS1 one because it's just like really kind of a mess at this point.
Really hard to go back to. But that voice acting is top notch.
Yeah, that's true.
But and like I don't know, it really is a weird medium because I think also it helps that like your first system was PS2.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not that old, I'm 27. So I was born in 1989. Like the NES was already like kind of coming to a close at that time.
Sure. Yeah. But by the time you were like even capable of playing it, it was probably done.
But at the same time, like that was my first console, was an NES, and I remember playing Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers, Ninja Gaiden, and like Hogan's Alley, just a few popular games. But like I remember that's where I got my start playing games, and eventually got a Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And
I guess Super Nintendo was actually my first console because my dad had one. But my earliest kind of like I remember having a PS2 and a Super Nintendo at the same time. So like that's kind of but yeah. So Super Nintendo for you was, I'm sure, an awakening of some kind.
Yeah, Super Nintendo was kind of what I guess just started cementing me as like a quote unquote gamer.
Yeah.
I remember one of the later ones, like Super Mario RPG, feeling so awesome that I could actually beat that game. And thinking about it now, I had to have only been like 6 or 7 years old, and
That's pretty impressive.
I don't understand how I was able to do that.
Yeah.
but yeah, like for me, the big turn that kind of changed how I feel about video games was PlayStation 1. And probably Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
That's kind of
because they were like serious,
right? Yeah.
Like I feel like I had a similar situation, and again I'm gonna probably give you a heart attack with like Kingdom Hearts because it's Final Fantasy kind of situation, right? Like, and you're like, man, this is so cool, and like they're telling a story, and it's like I don't know, spiky hair dudes are running around.
Kingdom Hearts had pretty decent voice acting.
Yeah, I love Kingdom Hearts, God. But it's funny, like Super Nintendo was kind of like the thing that cemented you. Like I just wrote today for the 1990 article, my bit for Super Mario World, which was like my first like oh holy shit, games can do this. Because my first game that I played was Miss Pac-Man. And I'm like at a pizza parlor, right? And it's like, oh, this is fun. And I had played games like that before, like, oh, this is fun. This is a thing, a diversion.
Yeah.
Super Mario World, I like devoted my life to for a short time as a young child, and I think that's like what the turning point was for me. But it was like, I don't know, 10 years later.
Super Mario World's easily like one of the best, right?
It's my second favorite game of all time.
Like, I had to have played that game for years, and at the time it felt like every time I picked it up, I found something new.
Yeah.
It was like even now you don't get games like that.
No. It's sad.
Oh.
I'm not one of those people that's like gaming sucks now, but also at the same time it kind of does in some ways, but I don't know.
I get like that until like the next great game, and I'm like, no way, the games are still awesome.
Sure, and there's still of course like great people making, just tight, really well designed 2D platformers and stuff like that, because that's like my genre, I think, if I had to pick one.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're playing games. So as you were growing up, were you becoming kind of an indoors kid, or were you still kind of blending it with the rest of your life?
I feel like I kind of blended it pretty well. A lot of my friends all played games, but I don't think anybody was as serious as I was.
Yeah, I had the same kind of feeling.
Yeah, but I still like. Me and some of my best friends, like, we I lived right across the street from a elementary school, so like there was a park right outside, and we literally like we felt like the owners of that park because
just playing games and stuff in there all the time.
We played tag like crazy.
I miss days like that.
And it was to the point where literally anybody who came to the park knew who we were, knew that like we were the tag masters, and like if they played a game with us, they'd bring their friends and be like, oh yeah, don't even try to catch them because they'll only let you tag them if they want to be it.
That's funny.
But like we probably played tag for way longer than we should have. Like,
like in terms of like age.
Yeah, probably like middle school. We were still
Yeah,
playing it.
middle school was definitely where like the hard and fast line started to be like, it's not cool to play anymore.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe like 6th grade, but just about there. So
Yeah, but so we did the park stuff a lot. We invented games. Just to like, one was called Swing Creamin'. And
do I have to like report this to someone?
No,
the word.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Okay.
It was meant to be like, oh yeah, knock them out, cream.
Okay, I got it.
But basically, you'd get 3 people on the swings, and one person would have to run through all 3 of them, and the people swinging obviously would try to cream them.
I think I had a game like that too, but we didn't call it Swing Cream.
I think everybody did, but that's
just the try to kill another child game.
Everybody has their own variation of it.
Yeah.
But we did that. Eventually, me and my best friend, we got into skateboarding.
That's like a whole other culture to itself too.
Yeah, and that was like a huge thing in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk, thank you, Tony Hawk.
Of course. Yeah.
And that, life imitates art. Video games made me want to start skateboarding, which is kind of a cool thing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess it made you get a little active.
Yeah.
And it kind of led you into another interesting culture. I think the skateboarding culture of like, and the music that are surrounded that is pretty interesting. Of like the late night, like it's pretty like I don't know. People say it's dumb or whatever, just because it's very like surface level to some people. But I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it was, to me, skateboarding was this really weird thing where, like, I wasn't much of a team player, I guess. Like, I didn't want to join football team or baseball or stuff. It let you be, like, a solo guy, but still kind of feed off of your friends and
be part of a gang.
Yeah. Break into shit and stuff. No, we didn't do that. But yeah, like, you could still do your own thing completely, but with other people, if that makes sense. Like, there was a camaraderie that I found in skateboarding that was still to this day. I really haven't found anything that matches that type of feeling.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. It didn't matter who you were or what you looked like. If you see somebody riding down the street with a skateboard, like, hey, they were a cool kid. Hey, want to come skate?
That's awesome. Were you into the music around that kind of stuff? Like, I don't know, like punk and pop punk stuff?
I think so. Like, I still like that music.
Yeah, I do too. Even though I was never a skateboarder.
Yeah, you didn't have to be. I don't know. Like, it's cheesy. It really is. A lot of it's cheesy.
Sure.
But I kind of have a soft spot for cheesy music.
Of course.
Recently, in one of the things we're doing, I heard a song that was by this band called State Champs.
Uh-huh.
And I'd never heard of them before, and they literally sound like they came out of, like, 2001. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is good stuff right here.
Are they a new band, though?
Yeah, they're, like, the last album was 2015, and I think the first album was, like, 2013.
Wow. I think it's, like, another kind of cycle of, nostalgia or whatever.
Yeah.
Because
you can tell they grew up on it, and...
Yeah, exactly. Because you had, like, people like Green Day and Blink, I guess, kind of in their own way trying to bring some form of punk back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because you figure, like, I don't know, punk, like, 70s into the early 80s, and then those people grew up on that, and then it's like a 20-year cycle of, like, fashion and musical cues and stuff like that, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like, and a lot of that stuff goes through, like, a pop filter.
Yeah, of course.
To kind of get into the mainstream, which...
Yeah.
There's that whole section of people that hate that. I'm okay with it. Because pop music is pop music for a reason. Like, it sounds good. It's easy to listen to.
Yeah.
And
I've actually had a recent, like, really appreciation for like the art of like pop writing. Like it's actually like, now I'm not talking about like, I don't know, High School Musical or whatever, which is also something that I've had to listen a lot of as part of the thing we're doing. But like just like Beach Boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's pop.
Yeah.
But like Brian Wilson had such like a devotion to his craft, and he literally went like insane trying to write the perfect pop song.
Yeah.
And I just find that kind of approach to pop really interesting.
Especially like the people who are like the singer-songwriter types. Like,
of course, yeah.
I have so much respect for them, because until like you sit there and kind of start writing your own stuff, or you know, maybe just studying it in like music theory or whatever. I never did that, but until you realize like the impact of adding like one extra word or an extra, you know, space to breathe, like those little tiny minute things can change a song like so dramatically. It's insane. And to make something sound so listenable and so like cheery, I guess, like as far as like, you know, a nice wholesome pop song,
sure,
it's incredible.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, speaking of music, you sent me an interesting link today that I checked out. So, I think we kind of touched on this when we did that Classic Game Club on Jet Set Radio. How you like that kind of music, but like, so hip hop.
Yeah,
you had a hip hop phase or something, I'm guessing. Or that's still continuing.
Is it a
perhaps?
phase? I think it's just inside of me.
Sure, that's good.
Yeah, hip hop just that was something like around the skateboarding time, you know, because it's skateboarding culture. It did kind of have like a mix between like punk rock and hip hop.
Yeah.
And I slowly but surely kind of just went the hip hop route more than anything. It could be the area where I'm from too. Like I said, you know, suburb of Chicago. It's much more like a rap world than anything else.
Sure.
But it's I don't know. And I love old school hip hop. I love like the roots of where it came from. Just kind of like having nothing really to make music with, and still being able to make music. You know, with DJs and cutting up records and
samples.
Yeah, just like that whole art form still is one of the coolest things I think that's like ever happened to music. And I appreciate like the honesty that's in a lot of it. And I say this with a grain of salt because like I never wanted to be that guy that's like, I hate the radio, but seriously, up until like 2 or 3 years ago, I was fine with like the rap music I was hearing, but now it's like, oh my God, just what is?
Yeah, no, I get that way very often. I never listen to the radio.
Yeah. But yeah, so, you know, as I got older, started skateboarding and wanting to do more creative stuff, I was also the kid that didn't have like instruments or stuff like that, so I decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to start writing rhymes and start rapping.
How old were you?
I think when I started, I had to have been like 13 or 14.
That's pretty young.
Yeah. Somewhere around there. And like, nothing ever really came of it. It was more of an outlet. Like,
yeah, of course. Artistic expression.
Yeah, it was something fun I really liked to do. The guy I skateboarded a lot with, you know, the original plan was he was going to be a DJ, I was going to be the rapper, and awesome. We were going to make this awesome little group and start doing stuff. But, like, you know, just like with video games, it seemed like my heart was way more in it than his ever was. To the point where, like...
That sucks.
Yeah, it did. It really did, looking back on it. Because, like, he wrote some songs, too, but never to the point like that I did. I literally had... I probably still do. Yeah, I totally do. I got, like, 4 notebooks full of just lyrics.
Wow.
and I'm sure they're all shit now if I look at them, which is fine. But yeah, I was all into it, and it was just like I didn't have to make music. I didn't have to tell everybody about it. It was just like I just really liked writing. I really liked rhyming, and
That's
really
awesome.
liked the art of rapping and syllables and making stuff sound right coming out. Like, again, that's going back to what we were just talking about. Like, that kind of fascinated me how much actually goes into writing a song.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that situation you described where you're like creating some kind of like thing with someone else and they're like clearly not on the same level as you in terms of motivation, it's like the most like awkward kind of just sucky thing that happens. You're like, oh, so this isn't probably going to happen, so we should just like, whatever.
I literally bought turntables like so he could mess with them, and
and then he didn't really want to.
Messed with them like 3 times, and was like,
oh my god, yeah. I haven't had quite that happen to me, but I've had situations like that, and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like that's probably a product of being younger. There's certain, a lot of people don't know what they want to do, and there's some that do know, and they kind of have to tough it out until they get to their crowd, which I think I've started to find just recently. So,
yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm still searching, and that sucks. But maybe like that's just who I am.
Well, I feel like with the Invisible Gamer crew, I've found a good group of people that have similar. We put in work where we can and stuff.
Yeah,
but
definitely, like I do feel like now I'm in a much better place and much more productive place.
Sure.
Supportive. Like with the people that I've met, and motivational, I guess. Like, it really is true. Like, surround yourself with the people like you want to help build yourself up. I don't know what the saying is.
I know what you're getting at. But yeah, it's true. I think that as much as like you could sit in a room by yourself and consume art that could inspire other art, I think it really helps to have just other people that are positive influences, even if they're not like just even if they're not doing it with you. Like my girlfriend, for example, I'm not podcasting with her, or writing with her necessarily, but I kind of just that kind of experience with a good person, will kind of motivate you in some way. So,
and I mean, success builds on success, and if you surround yourself with people who are at least driven, like that's the best thing you can have.
Yes.
And I feel like that's over the years that's kind of what's happened with me is like I found like good people who are helping me, even if they're not helping me, like just being who they are and kind of moving up the ladder, like that automatically kind of helps yourself. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So so then you made some music, and you mentioned that you were some other creative things. Were you trying to do some other? Were you writing and stuff? Like what were you just trying to find creative outlets at that age?
Not really at that point. 'Cause I have just bounced around from so many different kind of things. Like we're kind of going through the life of Austin right here, but like I didn't even mention like I used to draw like crazy, like, and this was younger than the skateboarding days. So like elementary school, kind of like early middle school, I had sketchbooks full of crap. I created my own characters. I made my own comic books. Like I made my own Spider-Man stories. I made my own Mortal Kombat stories. Which was funny because I made my friend draw a Mortal Kombat comic, and he got in trouble because of the violence in it. And I was like, I'm sorry, dude. I didn't. But yeah, like, I did that a whole bunch, and then it literally felt like I plateaued. Like, for a young kid even, you kind of felt like, yeah, I'm not going to really get much better at drawing than what I'm doing right now. So maybe I should just find something else. And then that was kind of when like skateboarding happened, and kind of got more into video games just on like a deeper level. That was around the time when, like I said, like Final Fantasy came out and Metal Gear Solid and, you know, these things that were like really big cinematic experiences that to me were unlike any other games before.
Yeah.
So I started spending more time with that, and then got into the music stuff. Like, I just feel like I've always kind of been a creative soul.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always liked at least making something.
Yeah.
Whether it's an article about a game, a review, or a song. I started messing around with beats and computer electronic stuff. I made a few decent little tracks, but nothing that was amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we mentioned earlier, it's all artistic expression and an outlet. Like, this is a recurring theme, I keep mentioning it, but like a lot of people on the show are like Renaissance people, I think. You know, using the phrase Renaissance man, but men and women.
Yeah.
That kind of just have their hands in so many different pots. Is that the phrase?
Yeah.
But they're just doing so much, and I'm like, it's really kind of, I think that's kind of how things are going now. I feel like it used to be, I don't know how long ago or with what kind of industry or whatever, but I feel like the idea was you specialize, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's turning. Like they call, I guess, our generation or people from within our ages, like the slash generation and stuff like that, because, you know, they do all different kinds of things, and I think that's actually valuable rather than like, because then people will go, oh, jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah, but I'm really good at all these things.
And you're only good at one thing.
Exactly.
Sucker.
I mean, I guess they're both okay. I like the idea of people that do a lot of stuff, though. Different stuff, like singer, songwriter, actor, director, right? You know, whatever.
Yeah, I think, you know, the internet and crowdfunding and the way social networking, like the way the world is now, it makes that lifestyle easy, and I think it's good for people because, you know, the people who are specializing and stuff, that's great. And I'm sure there are certain people that like absolutely want to do the one thing in their life, but there's a lot of people that get burned out doing what they love, and to kind of grow up and be able to, you know, dip your toes in this and mess with that and do this, you know, it builds a lot of character, you know, for yourself, and it helps figure out the identity that you want to be, because you can take pieces of this, take pieces of that, kind of build yourself exactly the way you want to.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of that phase of trying all kinds of different things, and it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, like recently, here's another thing. My buddy who, you know, he's kind of the specializer. He really wants to make movies. Like, that's all he wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
He recently moved to Washington, but, you know, while he was out here the last, like, 2 years, that's kind of, he put everything else to the side. You know, he's still got to work, do this, but he's like, no, I'm going to make movies. I'm going to do it. I don't give a fuck what's going to happen. You know, if people tell me no, if I can't get money for it, no matter what, I'm going to make a movie. And he did.
That's great.
He got like a full feature film made, and, you know, it's not the best movie. Doesn't look the best, but it's a movie with his name on it, and you can buy the DVD online, and
that's
it's
awesome.
really fucking cool. But like, I got to help out making like some of his short films and his bigger movie, and just being a part of that and being able to create a motion picture, like, I got to learn a lot of stuff about special effects, a lot of stuff about lighting, a lot of stuff about filming and
cinematography.
Yeah, it's just like, it was really cool, and it was so cool. I'm really kind of upset that he moved away, because it was something like I started really enjoying, where like I never was in the position where I was like, yeah, I want to be a director and make my own films. Although I wouldn't mind shooting like a documentary, which I think we've kind of talked about.
I was just going to mention we've talked about that, so I still have that bouncing around, trying to think about what to do with that.
But yeah, like I really liked being a part of the crew and like being a gear in the machine, like making it.
Yeah.
So, and that did scratch another creative itch, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I've had a recent, I don't know. Video games are always my thing, but I've recently got into film a lot. And I mean, I'm not going to say I'm like over here watching, you know, Truffaut all day or whatever his name is, the new French New Wave guy. But like I am like going back way far. Like I have on my shelf next to me a DVD for Intolerance, a 1916 film by D.W. Griffiths. So like I'm like really starting to get into like that aspect of film, like diving deeper, and I'm writing a screenplay, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm writing it, and it's something. I haven't written anything for it in a while because
life
busy. Yeah, but I don't know. Like I'm wondering if that is the thing now, which maybe isn't like a good thing to like not feel totally devoted to one thing, but I'm going to school for journalism, and I'm like starting to realize like I don't know if this is what I want to do with my life. Like this would be a good beginning of a career, but I don't think this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But experiencing those different things made me feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, you're never gonna get where you're going without doing something.
Yeah, I mean you've got to
man.
Yeah, you've got to do it before you know if you like. I mean, I've been writing about video games and stuff for a while, and I want to do that, but not forever. And I'm just starting to realize that. So
yeah,
it's a simultaneously good feeling and a kind of like, oh shit, what am I gonna do feeling.
For me,
but
it's kind of like I felt like I'm always a step behind, and when I started getting into this, what we're doing, like writing about video games quite a bit, reviewing, making features and editorials and stuff. We're doing this at a time where, like, for lack of words, like print is dead, and nobody really wants to read stuff anymore, and YouTubers are getting all the press and money, and it's just kind of a sinking ship. Yeah. And there's definitely, you could definitely say, well, do something you love and do it for the love. But we all got bills to pay. We all got, families we want to have and take care of and stuff. So
and that's why it's good to diversify and be able to, I think, you have this skill too to make videos and to, I'm not on camera, but I could be, like I feel like I have the chops to try that, not acting, but just hosting or something like that, which is what this industry is going towards and stuff like that. But I don't know. Yeah, I read a thing recently about how like the amount of people like reading articles and stuff is like severely diminished, and then like a day or two later, I saw a thing about how this is slightly related. The number of like journalists, like investigative journalists, has gone way down, and the number of PR people has gone way up.
Yeah,
and that made me so depressed because going to journalism school, everyone there wants to be a sports journalist, which is fine, but they all want to be on ESPN, and I'm like, that's not going to happen. Or two, they all want to be PR people, which I always thought was weird that that's part of the journalism school, because it is literally the exact opposite of journalism.
Yeah, it totally.
But I understand why they do it, because a good PR person understands journalism. But anyways, and I just feel like that kind of loss of a craft is starting to happen with writing as well, and with journalism in any form. But
oh yeah, you could see it. I mean, especially on the internet, even the most prestigious sites, like, you'll read articles and be like, typo, come on.
Oh, yeah,
this is basic stuff, guys, come on.
Sure. Yeah, and or things are, like, sponsored by, and it's like, they're kind of hidden as, sponsored posts. And
right.
I just feel like in this world, like, every company or organization or person is the master of their own spin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no, like, objectivity anymore. And there never was in the truest sense, but there was definitely a lot more than there is now. And it just saddens me. Have you seen Spotlight?
No.
Are you familiar with the movie?
Not really. I heard just good things, and
It's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
You should watch it. But it's about, like, investigative journalists. And I was watching it, and I was like, I kind of, like, feel like a pride for this industry, you know, that I'm, like, tangentially, you know, related to. But, you know, in school I'm doing more, like, actual reporting.
Yeah.
You know, not games-related stuff. And I'm like, man, I hope this, like, makes a ton of people want to be journalists just like All the President's Men did. Because after All the President's Men came out, like the number of people wanting to be journalists, like, shot up. They, like, found a correlation between those two things.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh, wait, no, that's not going to happen because a million movies come out every day, and, you know, this was, like, a relatively... it was a big success, but with a certain crowd, an older crowd. And it just kind of made me sad that drive that you were talking about earlier, I feel like a lot of people are losing a drive of any kind for anything. So just like, oh, I'll float through life and live it.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like that's being lost. That's okay, so now we're coming around full circle. The drive. I feel like a lot of people just don't have drive anymore. I guess it's maybe because all the people I'm around are young, but I don't know. I know older people that are just like, I'm going to just ride this out and see what happens, and I don't really want to do anything.
Yeah, I definitely can see that too. I don't know, though. I think it's probably just a thing of us getting older. I think it's probably always been like that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, our parents and stuff saw people around them being like, oh, man, these guys are just kind of...
You're right. Waiting. Every generation has its thing about...
Yeah, you know, the hippies and stuff. And
yeah. I don't know. I reflect on sadness a lot.
Myself constantly.
Yeah. Okay, so how did you get into the games writing biz that were...
Oh, yeah. So, it was nothing more than me and my two current best friends being like, hey, we should go to E3. Oh, yeah. How do you get into E3? Oh, well, it's not open to the public. Oh, we want to start a website? Yeah, let's start a website.
How 90% of people get into E3.
And we have yet to go to E3.
Oh, okay. Never mind. But a lot of people do that. But
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I will get there someday.
So, but yeah, I don't know. Like we're saying, everything's getting shittier as life goes on.
Is that what I was saying? Oh, I guess so, huh?
E3 just is a shadow of what it used to be.
Yeah, I guess it's less of a spectacle as it used to be.
Yeah. I'd still like to go to E3.
No, me too, of course.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically what happened is, well, a little before that, I kind of just randomly started a blog on IGN.
Yeah.
Wrote like a few reviews and a couple...
That's how I started too.
Features and things like that. And then, then I would like talk to my friends, be like, hey, you know, let's try to start a website and get like a group of people in on it. And originally it was probably like six or seven people that were going to be like a part of this crew. Mm-hmm. And then like everything else, like 3 of them dropped out and one was kind of like, you know, I'll try to write something when I can, but I'm really busy. Yeah, because you're 20 years old and working part-time. I'm sure you're really busy. But yeah, so that's basically what started, and started writing a bunch of reviews and doing a podcast, which we still do. Yeah, I'm impressed by how many episodes you guys got. Yeah, we're been going for a long time. We just had episode 160 something because we couldn't remember which 60. And this is Average Joe Gaming, right? Yeah, the website was Average Joe Gaming. You know, as the years went on, we basically stopped writing because, it, like we were just talking about, it's kind of draining when you put so much effort in and it feels like you're not getting anything back. Of course, yeah. Because on top of that, you know, it's not just the writing. If you want to get your website known, you've really got to work at it and market yourself and
Yeah, I'm still learning how to do that.
get it out there. So yeah, exactly. Like, it's a hassle. Like, it's a lot of work.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the moment, Austin.
So it'll happen. You're on your way.
I think so. It'll happen. I feel like I got started relatively early too, so
Yeah.
I'm confident about it. I haven't given up any hope.
In my eyes, your line graph is going up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I was gonna say stuff that probably I shouldn't say because I don't know how things go with it, but just this past week period has like really kind of bolstered my like, hey, I'm doing things now, moving on. So
yeah,
it's a good feeling.
Definitely. And like, I'm kind of at that point now too.
Good.
Yeah, and that's kind of thanks to Average Joe Gaming. Like, it brought my friends and I together. We worked at it. We kept doing this thing. It was a pretty cool site. We met some cool people through it that we still talk to and still friends with. Like I was saying, the website's basically dead, but we do
just the podcast.
Just the podcast is still going on, and we definitely take breaks here and then. Like, we'll go record like an episode a week for 4 weeks, and then take a month off, and then come back and do it again. It's kind of sporadic, but I think we do it more for ourselves than anything else. We just really have a fun time doing it.
I feel like it's the poker night for today's nerds.
Yeah.
Like, let's get around and do a podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's fine. That's a good, again, an outlet of some kind.
And that eventually got me to write for a place called New Game Network. And I was getting paid a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean a really little bit. like 1 cent per 1,000 page views or something? Yeah, basically. It was like $5 a review.
Yeah. That's a start.
Yeah, it was something. It was something I could put on a resume and be like, hey,
sure. Yeah. And you have samples. That's the main thing that at that point that you're like, you're just building up samples. At this point, I feel like I have to cut off the line. Like, I still do stuff for Invisible Gamer because that's, a passion project. The whole site is, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I have to kind of be like, all right, no more of that. I'm worth more than that.
Yeah.
But still, it's a good start, as we mentioned.
But then, so I was doing Average Joe Gaming, New Game Network. Our friend Michael Burns.
Yeah.
Somehow,
I don't even know how you know Mike.
Somehow we were following each other on Twitter. I don't know.
And you don't know how that started?
No. Other than, my Twitter...
Maybe IGN?
My Twitter became this, video game haven for me, which is fine, and, that's exactly kind of what I wanted it to be. So I'd just follow video game people and then follow their friends and do that. And somehow we were following each other. And one day he wrote a thing like, hey, I'm looking for people to write about retro games on my website. It's like, that sounds fun. Let me do that.
Yeah.
So we talked, and he asked for some samples, and he's like, yeah, cool. Whenever you could start, here's what we'll do, and started the Retro Weekend feature, which originally he was just supposed to give me 5 games. I'd pick one, and then I'd write or do something kind of crazy with it.
Yeah.
And that, as time went on, I guess the creativity kind of drained. It's kind of harder to keep doing new and interesting things every week.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the pieces still came out pretty good.
No, I think you did great. They always read really entertainingly.
Yeah.
It felt like you were sitting there joking or whatever about a game with whoever's reading it,
Yeah.
So I think it came across really well. And some of it kind of had I remember the ninja one where you were ranking the ninjas. It's just it's a cool. You took it a step beyond just here's what the game is. And I think you kept doing that.
Yeah.
With every game.
I definitely tried to.
Yeah.
And like you were saying with the kind of conversational way of it.
Mhm.
That's over the years, like I feel like that's kind of just become like my thing. Like that's what I'm good at. I'm not great at writing like super detailed and like intricate stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a very conversational writer, and
You're an average Joe
I'm an
gamer.
average Joe gamer.
Tying it back into that.
So yeah, like that's kind of the thing I've latched on to in my writing.
I think that's more valuable, honestly, in today's environment.
I think in the world, yeah. I still like I wish I could write some of the things I read where it's like, oh man, like this guy took a really deep dive and is like dissecting and stuff like that stuff.
I get that way too.
Yeah, but it's good to know your strengths and it's good to play to your strengths, and that's something that Retro Weekend I think definitely helped me realize. Is like that's what I'm good at. And yeah, I mean that eventually led me to like get some freelance work. So
yeah,
that's good. That's helping me pay for my wedding right now.
Oh dang! Do you guys have a date? Oh yeah, you guys were talking about it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm getting married in 2017.
Okay, yeah, you don't have to say. I don't want to.
October 29th.
Okay, there you go. You seem kind of hesitant. I'm like, oh, did he not want to talk about it?
No, okay. I was like, it's the really dumb way. I was like, am I going to be married by the time this podcast airs? Tristan's been really good about getting his episodes up.
Yeah, this will go up tomorrow.
But like, that's just from podcasting so much because you
have to like think of what the dates are. And and I mean, you podcasted a lot. I mean, I feel like doing this podcast, because I've done other podcasts, but this podcast specifically, I'm like, this could be the thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I could do this for a long time. Yeah. Let's say, I don't want to commit, but let's say a long time. Just because I think interesting people have interesting stories to tell, and I just like the medium of audio. I'm not really a video guy. I feel like I tried to make good video, and it just comes out kind of whatever. Maybe I shouldn't say that, considering what is going to be happening. Maybe. Right. But I just like, I don't know. I like the simplicity of just audio, and I like the callback it is to the radio shows, and there's a simplicity in that. But
I like the simple things.
Yeah.
I hope you keep doing this.
I'm planning on it. I just haven't been good about promoting it, I guess, lately, just because I don't know what to do with this thing. I've gotten like, I don't know, okay numbers, and by okay I mean like okay for me, not okay for like
the world,
fucking Nerdist or whatever. I don't know, whatever the top podcasts are, but I don't know. It's growing. I can see it growing. Like I can look at the data and the numbers and see it going up consistently. So that is heartening,
Absolutely. And
I just have to figure out what to take it to the next level somehow. I don't know how, but
pay somebody a lot of money and then they'll get you 5,000 followers on Twitter.
I could do that. Yeah, I could just buy a bunch of bots. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Yeah. Well, I feel like I owe Michael a lot, and I don't know if you feel the same way, just because of recent things, but with Invisible Gamer and stuff like that. But because he got me, I opened up opportunities with Invisible Gamer. I still use Invisible Gamer articles as samples and stuff like that, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I think we both can
benefited from Michael's niceness.
Benefited from Michael's niceness and just the group around Invisible Gamer. Yeah. Like I used to tell Michael kind of before we all started getting like real real jobs and stuff. But
sure. Yeah.
Like when I first joined on, like I kept telling him like, dude, this is awesome. Like these people are great. They're super intelligent and they got like there's a lot of creativity here, a lot of drive, and I would love to like see these people just succeed. And it seems like everybody's kind of succeeding in their own way. So That's really cool to see.
That's a good feeling. Well, I've been writing for them for like 2 years now. Like, I just got to think today or yesterday that like Michael and I have been friends on Facebook for 2 years. I'm like, oh, that's probably right when I started. You know, I don't know the exact date, but I figured that those two things would line up. So I'm like, dang, that was a fast 2 years.
Yeah.
It won't be many more, but well, it was fun talking, Austin.
Yeah,
You're
definitely.
Cool,
thanks for having me on.
Great talk with Austin. I feel good about that talk, that conversation. I think we hit some profound points, if I do say so myself. Next week on the show. All right. I don't know. So, I mean, be excited for that. There is the possibility of a little short segment. I'm playing with a couple ideas here for the next week's episode, because I don't have a full episode, but there's a couple potential follow-up interviews, talks to be had, and there's one that's probably going to happen by next Tuesday, and there's another one I could try to make happen before next Tuesday. So it might be a little follow-up episode, a twofer, where it's just shorter bits with two different people, just following up with former with former guests that were on the show before. So that might happen, and it might not. So, you know, keep your eyes open for that, your ears open, I guess. All right, so the podcast stuff. It's on Facebook, Butterfly Effect Podcast, YouTube, Butterfly Effect Podcast, Twitter, Butterfly Pod. Is that right? Shit, my mind just went blank. It is Butterfly Pod, but for a second there I hesitated. You can follow me on Twitter at Ettletod, ETTLETODD. You can email me at trettleman@gmail.com, TRETTLEMAN@gmail.com. And what that is all about is just send me feedback, people you want on the show, stuff like that. All right, it's on iTunes. Subscribe on iTunes. Rate and review, all that shit. I feel. I'm sorry if your pet peeve is yawning. All right, talk to you later.